they treated the hood like reservations, like they do with the Native Americans, the redskin Native Americans. See, they treat the hood like reservations. They make sure that there's plenty of drink and liquor, smoke and liquor in the hood and on the reservations. You dig? So that the white people can start marrying into some of those Native American tribes. See, they did a lot of finessing with the red Native Americans. That's why you don't have a lot of red Native Americans out here. They would put people on these reservations and say, we're going to allocate resources and all that. And then white people would marry into these Native American families because these white people were really these $5 Indians. So what happened is they would marry into these families and get all of the um, resource allocations to them too. So when you see the people who own these casinos, a lot of them are these white quote unquote Native Americans who ain't really Native American. Yeah. You got a bunch of $5 Indians running these casinos. We saw something like that over in Samoa. We met a white man over there who was our tour guide, and we didn't know that he was going to be our tour guide. And you guys heard me talk about this guy before. We were over in Samoa, and we were looking for a tour guide, and my lady called some company, and then an old white man showed up. I'm like, what the hell? Remember him? Yeah, we thought it was going to be a native. That's what we wanted, a native person, but it was this white man. And I was like, okay. Yeah, yeah, really the only white man out there. We didn't see too many white men, but he was actually a good tour guide. He knew everything about the island as they do. But what he did was he married or had babies by a lot of the women there. How many kids did he have? Yeah, yeah, he had about 10 fucking baby mamas. He's like, right here, this is one of my kids' mothers right here. I mean, this dude took us to about 10 different Samoan women's cribs. So his ass was up here having a bunch of babies by these Samoan women. Yeah, he's our tour guide. He would pick some of his half Samoan kids up and they sitting in my fucking lap eating some taro bread, and he's dropping them off at another house. And I'm like, how many kids does this white man have? So he has all of these kids, and that was his finesse game. He would go out there and click in with these families, and then the Samoans, they get certain federal dollars and housing and all of this stuff allocated to them. So he was getting all of that stuff too. He was getting like houses because his kids were half Samoan. So he was using these kids in order to get housing, land, um, all types of benefits. So he was out there living high off the hog, clicked in with the indigenous people. You did? These white supremacists be learning all types of damn finesse games. Yeah. So they do that all over the place. And they do it over here with the red natives too. Now, listen, let me tell you something. When we start getting our, and I say when, because we're going to get reparations, and they know it. We're going to get reparations because we're just so focused, and we're going to get it because we are hella focused right now. Listen, when we start getting reparations, you're about to see a bunch of Jack Harlow's, um, Chet, Hanks. They're going to be flooding the hood. They're going to start trying to find bedwenches all over the place to lay up with. I'm telling you now. It's going to be white boy summer, winter, spring, and fall. They're going to be out there trying to get the charcuitias. They're going to be out there trying to lay up to get a pay up. You understand? You're about to see that in mass. When we get reparations popping, y'all about to see a bunch of Rachel Dolezal's brothers. It's going to be hunky heaven, brothers. All y'all niggas out here who be having these little white women fetishes, they're going to be coming at you real heavy too to get a piece of the action. I'm telling y'all. These people are going to come in heavy to get a piece of the action. So y'all keep your eyes on that. Should I get one more call in here? Let me get one more call because I got a lot of work to do. We're still working on American Maroon. I'm almost finished with that. We're doing the last piece of editing. Let's get Jabbar Anderson. Well, let me get Jabbar Anderson. Let's get some new names in here. Jabbar Anderson. What's up, Jabbar Anderson? Let's turn your microphone on, Jabbar. Let me take some of these people off of here. Jabbar, were you trying to get on, or Did you make a mistake and push the button? Jabbar, turn your microphone on. While we're waiting on Jabbar, let's get Florida man in here. Florida man, Florida man, hop on. I wish y'all have y'all microphones together because y'all
Oh, I'm
slow the
here. I'm
game down.
here. I'm here.
There you go. What's up, Florida man?
Oh, nothing much. Chilling. Hey, man, I ain't got much to say, but what I will say is, man, thank you. You woke me up from my cooning, man. I was cooning real bad when I came out of high school.
Uh, how are you cooning, brother? How were you cooning?
Oh man, I was gone. I was like I was Uncle Ruckus on steroids. Oh man, I did the whole nine, the slave play, all that, man. I did it all.
Oh Lord, were you messing with a lot of white girls,
Oh,
brother?
absolutely, man. They was whipping me with that white pussy, man. I was
So who are you with now? Did you get your sister
Oh
now? How
yeah,
you
well I'm
doing
with a
now?
black woman, man.
Good. Now where are you from? Where's your family from?
DFW. I'm so it's a funny dynamic. I'm genetically FBA, but I was raised by a lot of Caribbeans.
Really? How so?
So my mom and biological father are FBA, but my father figured the man that my mom was with, I was growing up with, was Caribbean. So
Where is he from?
St. Kitts.
Okay, so yeah, he infused his coon values onto you.
Oh,
That's what turned you into a coon. He infused them coon values onto you.
oh yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad I woke up when I did, man. Because if I didn't, bro, I'm telling you, I would have been one of these niggas walking around talking about George Floyd deserved to die.
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah,
I
man.
was gone, man.
But we're glad you got that out your spirit, brother. So that's a good thing. Let's get the real. What's your name, brother? The real Himothy. The real Himothy. What's up, the real Himothy?
What's going on, brother Flex? How it going, bro?
Good man. How are you, sir?
I'm good, my G. I'm good. Shit, I'm just down here in Florida, man. Been rocking with the movement for a long time. Been watching Hidden Colors and shit. And so the thing about me is, I was born here in America, but my parents came over here from Guyana when they were like both 16. And so
Okay.
one thing that you helped me like, just confirm that I wasn't tripping. I was having a lot of like back and forth with certain family members who are like they're like part Brazilian and they're part, Hispanic and shit, and they just act real crazy towards like the darker people in the family and just black people here, period. So I was checking motherfuckers like early. I was checking people left and right about acting crazy towards black people around me. I consider myself black. I grew up here in South Florida. You feel me? So
Yeah.
yo, I just wanted to thank you, my G.
Much respect, brother. Like I said, man, we're not making stuff up, man. Look, this stuff has been going on for a long time. That's why we needed to get some straightening. This has been going on for a long time, and many of these foreign families, man, they come over here and they got a bug in their ass about us, and we've been cool with it for a long time. We ain't been tripping, but now we said, hey, enough is enough. And it's so don't let nobody shame you, FBA family. And shout out to some of these folks who are out here being honest about how their family was getting down. This is all across the board, man. We hear this from all they see. What I don't like is when they try to put it on a certain sector. Some people will be, "Oh, it's just the Jamaicans and the Nigerians who are like, no, it ain't just them. They'll just try to make it seem like Jamaicans and Nigerians, which are, it's kind of heavy with them, but no, it's all across the board, dude. It's all across the board. A lot of them come over here from these third world countries, damn near, and then get around white people over here and then try to throw us under the bus. And they have this contempt for foundational black Americans. This has been going on for decades. And when we say enough is enough, when we say, hey, you know what, we're not cool with that. And since you want to distance yourself from us and acknowledge your lineage, knock yourself out because we're going to do the same thing. Then they want to run around and talk about how divisive we are. After y'all done sat up here and called us all types of crazy names behind closed doors. And see, we had to put our foot down at this point because now these hateful tethers are getting into political positions that's affecting us now. So now we have a congressional black caucus that's full of these people with nothing but contempt who ain't even FBA. And we're saying, hey, we're good. We don't want these folks who are not from our lineage misrepresenting us because, as we see, we are suffering and these people are not helping us. They're getting our tax dollars and then allocating our tax dollars to all of these other people. So we don't want foreign Negroes representing us like this no more, as we should have been doing a long time ago. We really got woken up because of Obama's ass. We sat here and supported Obama, turned out in record numbers for Obama. Obama's non FBA ass sat here and tooted his cheeks up to us and didn't do a damn thing to help us or protect us or anything. So that was our wake up call for real, for real. You see? And that is okay. Don't ever be ashamed to say, hey, man, look, we're going to look out for us. We're good. We are good. We're going to look out for us. That's what it is. All right. Let me see who we got in here. Because I keep saying I ain't going to be on here too long. Should I get one more call, family? Should I get one more? Let me get one of these sisters in here. Got a lot of sisters popping up in here. All right. Let me get some new. Jabbar, you in here, brother? Jabbar? T.S. Giselle, I'm not getting you on. T.S. Giselle, no, sir. No, T.S. Giselle. Now you need to go and then and take off that fishnet top. I saw a picture of you in a fishnet top. I'm like, oh Lord, like it looked like a manatee got caught in a tuna net. Let's get Ashley in here. Ashley, hop in, dear.
Hello.
A- hey, Ashley, how
Hey
are you?
Tariq, how are you doing? I'll be listening to you while I'm at work. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I love listening to you and I like put my friends on to you. But I want to say, did you hear about that interview with Meghan Markle where she talked about how she feels about really like being a black woman or something?
I heard something about it. Now,
Yeah.
what was the gist of the interview? What
She
was the
was
gist of the
basically
interview?
saying like what was she saying? Like her being over there really made her feel in the skin of being a black woman.
Right, it made her realize that
Yeah,
she was
and it
black.
kind of made me
Right,
feel
right.
like, well, what did you think you was? Like, you wasn't no
Oh,
different. Like, come on now.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, great. Thank you. Let me land on that. Thank you,
You're
beloved.
welcome.
Yeah, um um the interview, from what I understand, yeah, she was like, yeah, when I went over to England, yeah, I really know what it's like to be a black person now. Because see, what happens is sometimes people play the biracial game. They'll make you think that you're somehow different from the rest of black society. Sometimes people will play that game with you. And they'll do that in Hollywood sometimes. Because she was around the Hollywood circles. So in Hollywood, because they'll try to cast you as an exotic other, just like with The Rock. The Rock is a black man, but they cast him as an exotic other. So they play that little game in Hollywood, but in the real world, now you get around some real white supremacists. Oh no, they're going to let you know what the business is. Ain't no biracial around the real white supremacist. She was over there saying, hey, they were calling her and her child all types of niggas. You dig? Now that baby looks lily white, but they were still calling him all types of niggas. And I told y'all, with the white supremacists, and where did I do an interview? I did an interview talking about this recently. With the white supremacists, they are actually more cautious around these biracial black people who can pass. They're more cautious around them. They're more uncomfortable around them. Dr. Welsing talked about this. A jet black person, they're like, oh, cool. Not a problem. We just call the police on this nigga. They can come around here. That's not a problem. A clearly defined black person being around them and they're the only black person, they're not a threat whatsoever. They're not a threat whatsoever. It's them people who can pass, black people who can pass, They've always been a threat to white supremacy. Why? Because they have the ability to sneak in black genes. You understand? They can go into white society and sneak in those black genes. That's what the one drop rule was all about. That's why they were in Virginia. They were changing all of the vital records. They would send letters. It was Walter Plecker. They called him One Drop Plecker. He was the guy running the vital statistics office. And they would send letters to people. And I've seen some of the letters. I got to post them up. They were like, hey, we heard you had a baby and you and your wife classified yourself as white, but it's come to our understanding that the baby looks like a Negro. So yeah, that baby is going to be classified as black, and if you try to put him in a white school, you're going to get fined and prosecuted. I mean, they would send people letters like this. No cap. They would send people letters like this. It was that serious. If your baby even remotely resembled a Negro, had a big nose, or the skin was too dark, and some of these babies were actually Native American. They were from Choctaw tribes and um, Washita and all of these different tribes, but they were a little bit too dark, and they were like, "Hey, that's a Negro." Yeah, yeah. You wrote them down on the birth certificate as Native American, but we're going to change the birth certificate. They were changing birth certificates, saying, "No, this baby's a Negro." Yep, that's a Negro. So don't try to enroll him in no school over here. That's a Negro. So yeah, the real white supremacists let you know what it is. They're not going to let you sneak them black genes in there so that somebody can have a throwback baby. You dig? So yeah, they're very cautious around the Meghan Markles. They're hell on them. You see, that's what a lot of these mass killings in Europe was about. A lot of these white people who had distant black ancestry that could still be seen, just like Nazi Germany. That was about them not having pure, meaning some black, white blood. See, too many people over there in Germany had that African blood strain. Just like over in the Ukraine, they had the was it the Ukraine? They had the Holodomor, where they wiped out a bunch of Ukrainians back in the 19, I want to say 20s or 30s, something like that. The Stalin, one of those people wiped them out. It was like millions of them, because you had some of those people who had gypsy. In Europe, you have some of the darker Europeans who have that quote unquote gypsy blood. And gypsy is black, by the way. That's another way of saying black. Gypsy comes from the word Egyptian, and, that's African. So, they use these little code words. So you have a lot of these people with gypsy backgrounds who are Caucasian, but they're just not white enough. So they'll start wiping some of them out. Yeah. They're real big on that type of stuff. Some of these people who can trace, who can bring in some of that trace black DNA, they're real funny about that. So you better understand how white supremacy works. Y'all better study the work of Dr. Welsing. The book, The ISIS Papers, should be required reading. If you have not read that book should be required reading. That's why with our museum that we getting together out here, we got a lot of stuff that's going to be dedicated to Dr. Welsing, because we really have to elevate that sister's work. It's so phenomenal. The white society is not going to do it. It's up to us to elevate the teachings of people like that. And that sister broke the code. She broke the code and cracked the code of white supremacy and how it works. So you read her work, that will make you move a certain way when you deal with the white supremacists. Just a phenomenal piece of work and a phenomenal sister. All right. Should I get one more? I keep saying one more. Let me get my sister Jade in here. Get sister Jade in here. What's up, Jade?
Peace, brother. How are you?
I'm good, beloved. How
I'm
are
doing
you?
well. I just had to come on. Yes, the ISIS Papers is required reading, and it hits different when you have your teenager read it. I've been reading that book since I was 15 years old, and Dr. Welsing was teaching at Howard back in those days. And shout out to Dr. My Aunt, who's in your upcoming documentary. She is
Yep.
trying to take Howard University to task for the way that they treated Dr. Welsing and sort of kicked her out and didn't give her tenure. But I wanted to just speak on something really, really quickly. What the mainstream is calling the great replacement theory is actually the Crest theory. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing articulated that, white folks' behavior is out of their fear of genetic survival. That's what is racism, white supremacy. Sorry, I said that a little backwards. But
Right.
they're trying to rebrand that as great replacement theory, and it came out when that shooter wrote that manifesto. However, her work and this idea of is being weaponized against us, and they're trying to accuse our lineage as having some sort of black great replacement theory, which is completely false. So I wanted to just come
Right.
on and just have you speak to that point, please. Thank you, brother.
Real. Thank you, beloved. Yeah. So that's just tether babble and tether lies, because again, they understand that we as foundational Black Americans, that's just a lineage. We're not a group. It's not no organization. So they have to lie because they really don't have a real comeback for us acknowledging our lineage, because they know that it's justified. What's up? Who's talking? Um,
Hello?
Ara,
Hello?
Aram.
Yeah, I say Aram is pronounced Aram in Armenian.
Okay, you're an Armenian guy.
Yup.
There you go, my man.
I'm a fan. I've been a big fan for like a couple years. I know y'all gotta be real careful about who you let around allies or whatnot, but I wanted to ask you. I got a lot of love for FBA culture, especially music wise and everything, rap and hip hop. Especially when you go back even to everything else. Like you gotta give respect where it's due and where it comes from. I want to ask you, what's your opinion on? I know it's off topic, but Armenian genocide. I know that a lot of people would say, and it is, of course, the slavery was genocide, and still today is going on a soft genocide. So I was wondering your opinion, if you know of a lot about it or Armenian history at all.
Yeah. I know about the Armenian genocide, and again, that was, partially because again the bloodline. A lot of these groups and the Armenians, they've always had a fixed mixed bloodline. That's why the women over there got so much ass. That's not from Europe. That's from the African
Yeah,
bloodline. They got that African bloodline. So again, all of these groups over there who come from these gypsy backgrounds, and many of those Armenians have the gypsy backgrounds, as you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Because
Um,
we bloodline were closest to Persians, so
yep,
yeah.
yep. Yep. So they're like, okay, y'all white, but you ain't white enough. So we're gonna have to cleanse some of these people who ain't white enough. That's really what
But
it boils down to
but,
at the end
but
of the day.
what would you say to somebody that says Turkish people are like more black than Armenians? And but
Yeah,
if you look at history, because I've looked at a lot of the history, Turkish, in their history, they've done a lot to Africans and blacks as well.
yes, indeed. I 100% agree. I've been to Turkey. We were in Turkey not too long ago. So there's a lot of them, and you can see that African bloodline strain, and you have some black Turks, and yeah, when many of them came into Africa, they started practicing the same type of racial cleansing that was done on them, and they done some real slick stuff. Many of the people who became what's known as Arabs came out of that area too. So it's a real deep history. So
Right.
the go ahead.
Um, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, in Armenian history, if you look at our history, we don't we never colonized anyone. We've never enslaved anyone. We've never. If you look at our history, we're more like Aboriginal peaceful people. Um, whereas a lot of people, a lot of people want to group us in with Europeans, but our history is not like that. I'm not saying that Armenians today aren't racist. You know what I mean? Of course, I know you live in LA. You probably go to Glendale. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, I know about Glendale. Yeah, I know about Glendale. Yeah, but yeah, actually, I'm very cool with a lot of Armenians out here. The ones that I've met out here have actually been very cool. I've done business with them. One of my tax guys years ago was an Armenian dude over in Glendale.
yeah,
So
it's
a lot.
cool Armenians for sure. It's cool Armenians for sure. But
Yeah,
I'm talking about, of course, it's a lot that identify with whites and white supremacists as well.
yeah, of course, and those I avoid them. So it is what it is.